Hello and welcome to my Lee Sin guide. Lee Sin's been one of my favorite champions this split. I hit Challenger with him, one-tricking him this season, and I'm going to be teaching you all I know about Lee Sin in this guide. You'll be learning about the pros and cons of Lee Sin, his champion identity, about his champion kit, and combos. I'm going to show you all the little tricks like that you actually need, the stuff that'll give you LP on Lee Sin, not the fancy stuff. I'll be teaching you about the build, the runes, the skill order, how to actually build this champion. There's a lot of confusion around, but it's pretty simple. I'll be demonstrating a clear guide and giving you guys a general idea on how to plan your pathing, when you want to farm, when you want to gank, giving you that balance that a lot of people struggle to find. I'll be going over the importance of dives and how to actually snowball games. I see a lot of people messing that up, so I'm going to be teaching you and giving you concepts to understand and snowball games. When you should gank a full clear, like in your first clear, I'll be explaining that, and then going over some important lesion specifics, and then we'll be going over more stuff for sure and examples, and I hope you guys learn a lot from this guide. Alright guys, let's talk about the pros and cons of Lee Sin. So firstly, we'll start off with the pros. He has insanely enjoyable gameplay. He offers an exhilarating experience throughout the whole game, especially when you're fed. Maybe not so much when you're behind, but don't worry about being behind. I'm going to teach you how to snowball and just destroy every game with this champion. You're going to have early to mid game dominance over most champions, and that's just so easy to play when you understand how to use that. You have crazy snowball potential. You're also adaptable to every game, and then the mobility this champion has to offer is so enjoyable and very broken about this champion. And of course, a pro as well as a con of this champion is this insanely high skill ceiling. But that just comes with time. So if you stick with this champion, you put the effort in, you're gonna become a beast on this champion. A few cons though, he has low CC, he has his ult knock up and kick away, but other than that he doesn't offer much other than a slow, but he gives plenty to offer other than that. He's punished hard when behind because you need damage, and to have damage on this champ you need to be snowballing, right? But it's pretty easy to snowball once you have this guide in your arsenal. And then as well, he takes a lot of time to master, but it's a grind, right? You put the time in every day, it's gonna pay off. And also, he doesn't scale the best, but that's not really something to be too concerned about. And again, he has a high skill ceiling, which can be viewed as a pro and a con. Alright, guys, let's move on to the next section of the guide. Alright guys, let's quickly touch on Lee Sin's champion identity. So basically, Lee Sin's champion identity revolves around him being a highly mobile fighter, and he's extremely adaptable in pretty much every game, and he has all the options you really need. He can engage, peel, carry, pick, name anything, he'll do it. As long as you're playing correctly, he can just make the space that you need to achieve anything. Like, he's a very unique champion in like how much he offers, but obviously he's not really the best at anything, but he has everything. That's the way I sort of view this champion, and there's not really too much to add to the champion identity. It's really a blank canvas. There's a lot to it, but yeah, he pretty much offers everything you need, but he's not really the greatest at anything. All right, guys, let's move on to the next section of the guide. Alright guys, now let's just talk about the build and itemization of Lee Sin really quick. So you're going to have two main standard builds. You're going to have the Eclipse build, and then you're going to choose to go either Sundered Sky or Cleaver Second. So you want to go Cleaver Second when you're not able to actually deal the damage, because they're going to start going tabbies and armor, like you're versing tankier comps. So when you go Eclipse, you're going to have a lot more damage if you're going Eclipse into Cleaver against those tankier comps. But when you can get away with Sundered Sky, Eclipse Under the Sky, even after the nerfs, is incredibly strong duo. And then the other build you're going to go is Under the Sky Rush. You're going to be going this when you're going to need to have a HP bar, and the enemy champs can just blow you up if you're going to go for the Eclipse build. But be careful with going this option, because a lot of the time you will feel like you need HP on this champion because you don't have the champion mastery yet. So only go this build when you've had a lot of painful experiences from not having a HP, whether you're versing assassins type of thing, that are just kind of one-shot you if you don't have Eclipse, don't have Sundered Sky, but Eclipse does offer tankiness with how fast you kill people, so they're not going to have the ability to actually deal damage to you, plus the shield, so just be careful with this build, but it is very, very powerful in the right games, and then you'll want to go into Cleaver or a defensive item, and then after these core items, you want to just opt into one of the simple 5 items here, a Maul if you're versing heavy AP, a Death Stance if you're versing heavy AD. Instead of Death Stance, what you can do is you can replace the Death Stance with the GA, but you wouldn't want to go this till like third or fourth item at least. You want to do this if they have a lot of poke, then Death Stance loses its value. Because the thing is, if you get poked while having Death Stance, you're just going to be taking extra damage because that's the way it works. That true damage is just going to be making you take more damage. So also with that stance, make sure you're Wing yourself because if you just take poke and then you W yourself, then it's fine. But yeah, GA is also a good option if you're versing poke champs, and you're also going to be diving in, pulling off an insect. That's a very rare situation, but it is very valuable in that game. And then obviously Cleaver if you're going to be dealing with tankier armor builders. It's going to help you shred through them and deal with them. And obviously, Sterix Gauge is a very solid option, third or after that item, third item and beyond. And then for the boots, you want to go tabbies or mercs most games, but if you can greed the Ionians, it's very, very nice on this champion because flash CD is very key, as well as just general CDR on this champion is very, very nice to have. But yeah, so mercs against CC. I don't really go mercs for the magic resistance unless they're just full magic resistance. I'll go like a more with mercs. But yeah, if I'm versing like 2 AD champs, I'll go steel caps, and then I'll probably go on more as well just to give myself a balance, and that's just going to give me very nice resistances there. And then Ionians, obviously, if they don't have too much of one thing, that it's just going to make one of the defensive boot options so valuable. And then also, if you're snowballing, or you just have the nice gold amount to just buy it, plus a pink ward, of course, you're going to be buying pink wards on Lee Sin every time you base if you have the gold. Obviously, if you have a key item, you don't want to just delay it by going a pink ward, right? And that's pretty much all there is to the builds. Don't overcomplicate it. This is just like the two stock standard builds. You don't need anything else. None of the lethality, Hydra, weird stuff. Just go these two builds. I got Challenger only using these. You don't need anything else. Alright, let's move on to the runes section. Alright guys, now let's just talk about the rune options really quickly as well as the skill order. So for the rune options, we're just going to go for the standard Kong page that most bruisers are running right now. And for the Lee Sin specifics, you only want to worry about 2 little details you can change. When you're versing a lot of CC champions at tenacity effects, you want to run this rune, but don't really worry about this. There's only a couple of days left for the season, but yeah, for next season, we'll just be going this page pretty much every game. And then the reason we go a double adaptive over an attack speed shard is because it affects the clear a lot for when you start Raptors. I think just go double adaptive. It's very, very useful in this champion too. You have really good AD scaling, and you already have an inbuilt attack speed steroid, so you want to go double adaptive on him as well as just scaling HP. If you want to, you can also go for the flat HP if you want to be brawling early. Both are completely fine. And there's another page I want to talk about really quick, just the electrocute page. This one's very, very, very strong in the right situations. So you want to run this page against champions that are very, very squishy, and you want to run a snowball against. So if say you're versing a brand jungle and then like 2 range champions bot that are squishy, a range top also like a Jace top or something, and he's pretty squishy early. Like this page can allow you to snowball very, very hard early. So just consider this page, but most of the time you want to be going conk. It's probably about 8 out of 10 games you're going conk, and then 2 out of 10 games you're going electrocute. And also just to briefly touch on the skill order, you want to be maxing Q first, then going W max, and then maxing E. And then you want to start W if you're going level 1 or 2. It can be either, and it just depends if you're going to be doing something level 3. And the reason you're doing this is because you're going to be very low HP if you go QE, those two in the first 2 levels, because you're not getting shielding and you're not getting the Omnivamp in your first level 3 rush clear. So just keep that in mind. And if you're starting Raptors or Red, you're going to be going E start, and if you're starting Blue, you're going to be starting your Q. But I'll be covering that more later in the clear guide. Okay, so let's talk about Lee Sin's abilities and combos. This is a part of him that a lot of people mess up and overcomplicate, but I'm here to make it so you're understanding that he's actually pretty simple and you don't need all the fancy stuff that like just make you lose LP because it's just not being efficient with the champions. So firstly, Lee Sin is a champion with infinite combos, but this fools a lot of people into thinking you actually have to do some crazy outplay every fight. But the basics of this champion is what you really need to understand and perfect, because you actually need to know only just a few combos, and I'm going to show you in practice tool right now what you're actually going to need to play Lee Sin effectively. Alright guys, let's just talk about the abilities first so we know what we're actually working with first, just in case you're an absolute beginner for Lee Sin. So the first thing is our passive. So after casting an ability, we're going to have two attacks with bonus attack speed. And those two attack speeds, the first one's going to generate 20 energy, and then the second's going to generate 10. And then moving on to the Q, it's just a projectile you'll see here. And if that one hits, you'll be able to retake it to the target that you hit with your Q. So say I hit it, and then I just take it. It's a very simple ability. And then your W is a shield or a jump. So say you have a ward, it's not going to shield if you jump to a ward or a minion. But if you're casting it to an ally, then you're going to... Hold on, let me get rid of the minions real quick. You're going to get a shield. So we're going to get a shield. Plus, another thing to note with this ability is if you cast it on yourself or an ally champion, it'll go on half of the cooldown. So see if I press W, it's 5-second cooldown. But now if I go to a ward, it's on a 10-second cooldown. So that's a very important thing. And now let's just quickly look at the E. The E is just a slam around you that does damage, and if it connects, you can cast it a second time, and that's pretty useful because it's a slow. But yeah, so it's a pretty simple ability. Something really quick with the ability, just to know, is that you can E and also E again, and it'll proc Eclipse. Just because the slow, I'm pretty sure, counts towards the damage. And then on to everyone's favorite ability is Lee Sin's ult. So it's pretty simple. It's just to kick into the direction they are compared to your body. So say they're here, they're gonna go into this direction here. And just to showcase it a bit better, say there's two people there, and I kick it into them, it's going to knock them up, as you'll see here. So that's all his kit explained. Alright, now let's just talk more about how you generally want to play Lee Sin. So, hold on, let me clear these target dummies. Say you're fighting. A lot of people think you want to start with your Q, but this is incorrect because imagine you're throwing Q versus throwing Q here. So if you're in melee range here, it's a lot easier. So how do we get into range? We can start with a ward hop. So this is generally how you want to play, and then you want to start with your order E, and then now you can slow them, and now your Q is really easy to hit. So this is just like the basic like gank combo, and then there's just like a few other things to talk about. When you're fighting with Lee Sin, you want to be, if you do hit your Q, sometimes you will just be queuing. You want to wait till the last second, because what this does is, as soon as you throw your Q, it goes on cooldown. So, if you throw your Q, and then you're waiting till the last second to take it, you get there, and it's a 4-second cooldown instead, as if you do a Q, and then you instantly take it. It's on a 7-second cooldown. That's why you see in those Lee Sin montages, everyone waiting till last second half the time. And that's because of that. And then a few other little combos you're going to need to know is an insect. So an insect's pretty simple. Let me just move my wards out of the way. So don't cheat. So it's just, you're going to be queuing. So there's two ways to do it. You can let your Q hit, and this is the slow version. Then you can ward hop behind and kick them. Or you can also just, if you want to insect fast because you're scared of getting CC'd, you can Q and then quickly cancel it, and then you can kick them like during your ward hop basically. So that's the two different ways to insect. Alright, so there's also a burst combo you need to know with this champion, and it goes just like this. So you want to start with your Q, and then while they're queuing, you're gonna R, and then see how they're knocked up? They're knocked up a bit during your Q, so you want to be queuing them during that. And this is good against champions like Echo, Fizz, just champions that have like a button they're gonna press that's gonna mess your combo up, like Echo Ult, Fizz E, like they can dodge your Q. If they have a way to like mitigate that damage, or like you just need to one-shot them really quick, and you need to CC them while one-shotting them. This is like that go-to combo. There's not really much else. It's more like just experience playing the champion. You'll figure out what abilities you need, as well as just watching gameplay. And if you need gameplay to watch, I have a really long video of just me going over a few games with Lisa and explaining my thought process, and it's just really going to help you understand how you're going to be using your abilities. But those are just the basic abilities you're going to need and combos. So let's move on to the next section of the guide. Alright, let's just quickly touch on jungle clear speed efficiency just before we jump into the clear guides. I'm going to demonstrate and explain and walk you through those. So firstly, we just need to understand this will save us 30 seconds every game, which isn't, it's like insane. It's so undervalued. Uh, don't ignore this optimization that you only have to work on for like 30 minutes and you get a benefit every single game you play. It also maximizes your golden XP by having your camps respawn faster. And also you can get to plays faster as well, which is going to potentially give you more golden XP in the long run as well. It also provides you more options. Instead of being 20 seconds later, because you cleared wrong, you'll be there to the play, the guy that's going to be 1 HP, instead of him getting his recall off, you're there and you just kill him. And it's very easy to learn, and I'm going to be showing you guys some examples now. Alright guys, let's go ahead and quickly look at the raptor start. So you want to start by eating the camp and kiting it towards the Krogs. And you're just going to be ordering the big raptor, pretty simple stuff, and then you just want to E, again, auto, spacing out your abilities so you're getting maximum passive procs, then letting it burn out, and then going Q, and then you want to Q the big one, auto it twice, even though you ease up, and then just keep going and kiting towards the next camp. Don't smite this one, you're just going to Q it here, or a little one a bit, wait for the burn to tick it down so your Q kills it, and then eat the little ones. Then you want to walk to red, smite the red buff ASAP so it comes towards you, saves you a little bit of walking, and then you just want to kite the red towards your topside camps. And then you just want to Q, and make sure you're finishing it off with your E range, because your E range is much longer than your auto range, plus your E is just going to be up for wolves anyway. And then you want to Q the wolves, and then make sure you're kiting it towards the next camp, so you're able to instantly start it. So you want to be using your next Q on the blue buff here, and then Q it instantly, and then E all the camp, order the big wolf. Unfortunately that little wolf didn't burn down for some reason. That happens, just make sure you fix your clear up order one time, doesn't matter. And then you're queuing Gromp here, and then Eing both of them, then queuing the Gromp, and then pulling it down, letting the blue buff die. And then you just want to finish Gromp off here, and this clear was pretty simple. So make sure you're doubling yourself, also getting your healthy clear. And then that was a 3-14 clear. Alright, let's move on to the blue clear. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the blue start. So you're just starting with the Q, and then you're going to be smiting it before your first Q. If you're scared of an invade like a level 1 cheese, don't smite like that, but you want to smite like that if you can, just because your Q does execution damage, so it adds a bit of damage to the blue buff. And then you just want to kite the blue towards your Gromp, and then like so. Start with E, and then Qing, and then spacing out your abilities, and also getting as many passive procs as possible. It's just extra attack speed. And you're going to be starting off with you're going to finish it off with Q like this, and then let it burn a little bit. And then for the rules, you're only using 1 Q on this, so you can just maximize your passive attacks with your E, second E, the passive, and then you're doing only 1 Q on wolves. So this way you're not waiting for it when you're going to be going to Q your raptors. And then just like so, and then you're going to let it burn out. Level W. Unfortunately that little wolf didn't burn down, but it's fine. We can throw our Q and auto it while the Q is mid-air. And then we're just going to go over to the red buff, pulling the wolves. And then our next Q rate, all of our abilities will be used on all the camps. This is just a multi-camp, and you eat them all at once, very simple. And then you're just dragging it over towards the Krugs. Queuing it ASAP, so you're going to have your next Q for the Krugs when it comes up. And then Wing ourselves, spacing out our autos, queuing ASAP, and then using the Q passive stacks on the red. And then boom, we finish the Krugs off there, instantly smiting the Krugs, and this is a very nice blue start clear. That is a 3-13. Alright, let's move on to the next section of the guide, guys. Alright guys, let's talk about pathing. So what path do we do, how do we decide, and how do we learn it? So Lee Sin's strength is that he has every option. So you can do a level 2 invade, a level 3 invade, even a level 1 invade, or you can just full clear on this champ. You can just gank as well. Like you have every option. It's so fun once you understand your options on this champ and you abuse it. So you can figure out which path you want to do by thinking about the jungle matchup, the lanes, assess where you need to be positioned on the map. That's a very big point. And also think about the lanes, like, are they gonna fight early, or is there like a level 5 timer they're gonna fight on, like an Aatrox, like once he gets points in queue, maybe there's a level 6 all in, or something like that. Just things to think about when you're deciding your path. Now let's just have a look at some examples from my own games from recently of my pathing, just to give you guys an idea into my thought process and things like that. Okay, so let's look at an example here, guys, of me pulling off an invade against a scaling jungle, and I also have a double range bot lane here that is a very strong combo. It's Lucian Army that I'm trying to play around. So you can see me asking firstly to try and find level 1 vision of the enemy jungler, so I'm knowing where they're starting. So that way when I do go for my invade, I'm not invading nothingness, like if she started blue and then I'm just going there and there's nothing there. And then also, it's good to know, and then here you can see I go W, level 2, and that's because I want to be healthy for the invade, so there's no way I can lose it. And also, I'm not going to be late by doing that. It's not like a Karthus or something, but you can't really invade Karthus sometimes because of how fast he clears. If you do EQ, you're going to be too low that it'll just beat you because just Karthus things, man. But yeah, so we're just eating here, and then we're making our way. See how we have mid push and bot push? That's why I'm going for the invade, as well as the enemy jungle is really weak. So a bit of an interesting thing happens here, but you can see me going for this invade, mid push, bot push. I know where she started. So what this Lilia actually did, you'll see in a moment, she did Raptors into Blue Gromp, and then she went to her Wolves. So it's a bit of a different, or a bit of an interesting path by this Lilia. But fair enough. She goes ahead and smite this, and see here, important little detail, I Warthog auto E, and that is because I want to be chunking her as much as possible. Whenever you're fighting a champion and you're trying to invade them, you need to push them out and also fight them till they lose as much HP as possible, plus they're leaving the jungle. And then the next step, you can see, I know I can make this timer because I know where red's up. So this is just hard pressuring this Lilia, and we're going to sweep there. And here, pay attention to my lanes. I know I don't have mid push anymore for some reason, but I see my top lane has hard push there. And he's about to base on a freeze, but instead I get him to come, and I'm being very, very patient here, guys, because Jax is missing. Very important detail, and I know I have smite advantage here, so I smite it away from her, and then I have Mordekaiser coming in, we just pick up the kill. And just as like that, we win this skirmish. Just Warthog out, kite this Jax out, don't let him kill me. Just a standard sort of skirmish, and then Lissandra comes in and we clean them up. Alright, let's move on to the next example. Alright guys, here's another example. I just wanted to show you really quickly. If you pay attention to the lanes, there's not really much setup for me, and the lanes are pretty stale, and I'm not able to invade this Viego, where if I had Prio on my lanes, I'd typically look to want to do something like that, but I'm just going to skip through because this is a stale example, but it's just going to show you that full clearing on Lee Sin's a completely fine option. Just going through it, and here I'm even scared of a Viego invade because I look at how he passed. Like you can see, he sort of clicks to my red. So what you do in this situation is you can auto the red buff like this. This is important if you're scared of an invade, and then you just go to your Krugs. The reason you auto it is because it's going to pull the red buff, and then he's going to come maybe, and he'll see the red buff, and he thinks you're finishing it off somewhere, and he's going to panic, and you're just doing Krugs while he's wasting his time. So this is a thing you can do when you're scared of getting invaded yourself, and you can just full clear, and I just concede bot scuttle because my bot lane bases, and then we go for the top crab. This is a very standard sequence. It'll happen rarely, but ideally you don't do this, but in some games I'm just showing you guys not to panic, and this is completely fine. And you just base here for your tempo. If I double longsword, boom, gromp, and then I see mid lane's very low HP, and then I know Viego's on the other side, but I've got base, and I have red buff because I delayed it because I did Krugs, so I was scared of the red buff. Invade, so I'm very slow here, but I'm just able to just fight this because I have double longsword advantage, so this is just showing you the power of tempo basing, and we just pick up a double kill on the Nami and the Viego. Alright, let's move on to the next example. Alright guys, here's another example I wanted to look at. I'm versing a pretty strong early game jungler, Master Yi, but you'll see what happens is he wastes a lot of time here bot. You can see there. And what that does is I'm allowed to get level 3, and I'm invading him on his raptors. So you could just imagine this was... So the reason I go for this invade, two things. One, I'm upper level. Two, I know he's here. And then also 3, there's another option. I have smite advantage. And then 4, there's literally 4 reasons. This is the right side of the map. So bot lane's my most important lane, and I also have high priority mid. So playing around this lane's very, very important. If you want to see more examples of pathing, check out the Lee Sin Unranked to Master video, and there's plenty of examples there, and let's just move on to the next section of the guide. Alright guys, something I just want to touch on as well is something I see a lot in my clients. They are missing a lot of dives when they're playing Lee Sin, so a huge strength he has is diving, obviously. So the reason you want to be diving is because you're denying minions from the enemy at the turret. Plus, you also have the ability to tank and then drop aggro with your ward hop or just Wing to your teammates type thing. So you can drop aggro, plus you also have insane burst on this champion, so just don't forget to be diving and make sure you're snowballing, effectively denying the enemy gold, as well as not just getting that kill gold, but just denying them those creeps. Alright, let's move to the next section of the guide. Just touching on some Lee Sin specific tips, just really quickly. Holding your Q, I talked about in the combos guide, but it's really important, like as long as you can, based on that situation, you hold it as long as possible. And then it's very, very important to play around your ult. Think of like an Eve. Whenever your ult's up, you want to look for plays if you can, possibly. But if there's no ults in your kit at the time, you can just look to farm more so, because a lot of your strength comes from it, but don't be like fully locked into only farming when your ult's down and only looking for plays when the ult's up. It's just a general guideline. And abuse your ability to kite in and out of fights. It's a very, very powerful thing you have with Lee Sin. And just abuse that and bait out abilities and poke the enemy. Alright guys, just before I end the video on the guide, I just wanted to talk about sensebarrel.gg. It's an elite coaching platform run by challenger and pro junglers such as myself. So if you want coaching from me, go ahead and join. But just to list some other benefits, we're going to give you some customized personal goals, as well as you're going to have your own goals, right? We're going to help you achieve those faster than you would on your own. We're also going to have progress tracking, and if you're at a rank plateau, we're going to push you past that, give you everything you need, and you're also going to have access to daily comprehensive VOD reviews. We'll be able to help you optimize your champion mastery, and it's just very nice community to be around. We're a thriving community focused on improving. So if you're interested in this, join your Sensparrow journey today. Link down below. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the leasing guide. If you have any questions, don't be scared to ask in the comments below. I'll be responding as many as I can. If you want any other champion guides, let me know down below as well. Alright guys, enjoy your days. Peace, peace, peace.